Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Card declined.
Hello, Takesha. I want to play a game.
Hunt you animals down and roast and eat you. The delectable crackers and cheese. Crackers.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Far Right News. I am a former U.S. Army journalist and intelligence analyst. My name is Michael Cost, and I am starting this Far Right News because I don't think that the far right gets enough attention. And that's not even to say that any of us are crazy extremists, although, you know, some libtards will see what's behind me here and would definitely think I'm an extremist. But I'm just an American. I served the country for almost 10 years. I do love the Constitution, and I do pay attention to what would be called far-right content on the internet. And I would like to sort of give my news analysis based on the information that I'm seeing and consuming.
Fuck off.
I don't have a bunch of funding or sponsors, and really I don't want any of that. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to reach the American people in the only way that I know how, which is to make videos and put them out there for the world to see. Why should you listen to me? I'm just another jerk off on the internet. I do have some experience inside of the government in the United States Army. I was an intelligence analyst. I wasn't like a spy. I just analyzed what intelligence had been gathered. I've been doing sort of independent news analysis on the side of my blue-collar jobs for the past 12 years. So I do pay super close attention to the news, and that's what I think qualifies me to sit here and analyze it for you, or provide my analysis for you. You can take it or leave it. I'm going to say some things that some people are going to find offensive, but that's okay. I think in the United States, we need to start having these conversations. There should be no topic that's off limits, basically. And that's what I want to get into. It is November 1st today, 2025, and over the past week there's been several stories which are quite significant that I think people should be paying attention to. And then I'm gonna just discuss what the far right is and what these folks are talking about on the internet, so that regular normie type people can see what the hell is going on. A lot of things don't make sense unless you're, on the internet and paying attention to what activists and dissidents are talking about online. So one of the big stories, at least for the week upcoming, it's been in the news obviously, is Venezuela. So I want to cover this topic first because I think something is coming either later this week or soon that we are going to make strikes inside of Venezuela. I do not agree with getting involved in any sort of foreign conflict at the moment. We have got major problems in this country. We need to save this republic before we go gallivanting around the world and saving everybody else. But part of that is stopping the flow of drugs into the United States. And that needs to happen for sure. These drug boats that are being blown up in the Atlantic Ocean on their way to the U.S. supposedly, we don't need any more chemicals in here making our people crazy. Okay, we got crazy libtards running around, whatever you want to call them. They're communist libtards in my view. These people are out of their minds. They consume the lying mainstream media constantly, and then they just regurgitate whatever the hell they're being told to regurgitate, and it's ridiculous. Anything that's pro-Trump, now, to be clear, I'm not 100% behind Trump anymore. He's got some major problems that I don't even think he realizes, which I'll get into later. But anyway, I don't want Trump or the United States to be bombing Venezuela, okay? Blowing drug boats up, I don't even think we need to be doing that. Interdict as those drugs are reaching the United States, and let's get off of Venezuela's doorstep, at least for now. Now, I don't support any sort of communists. I think communists are not human beings. And Maduro, same deal. I would totally support getting Maduro out of power and freeing the people of Venezuela. I think that would be a noble feat. It's on our side of the world. It's in our backyard. So I do think it would be smart to take out the drug cartels and so on and so forth. I just don't think the time is right now. This country has got serious problems, and we need to take care of our problems here. Again, before we go gallivanting around the world, saving everybody else. MSNBC is saying it's illegal to be bombing these drug boats.
They're not terrorists. They may be drug runners. We don't know that for sure. But just because you call somebody a terrorist, we call lots of people terrorists, doesn't mean that the military is authorized to go after them. And if no other reason, and look, I talk to an awful lot of people who, despite the fact that this is illegal, are comfortable with lethal action against purported, maybe, cartel members. You know, where does it stop? Do we now start executing drug dealers on the corners of Brooklyn? Where does it stop if all of a sudden the government, without telling anybody anything, can take this kind of lethal action just because they've decided that they've got the right to do so? If Lindsey Graham and other Republicans want to go the route of saying it's okay to kill people illegally, just so long as the American public supports it, the American public needs to really think that through. You know, there will be a Democratic president someday, and all my MAGA friends who are, cheering on these illegal killings need to imagine who gets killed when President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that it doesn't matter what the law says. She's going to do what she's going to do. So look, I work here, so I understand the complete abnegation of principle and a complete thumbing of the nose at the rule of law, but I would hope that people like Lindsey Graham might not go that path, because it's a very dangerous path for this country to go down.
But I'm pretty sure that Trump has some sort of insider intel showing what's on these drug boats, and he's likely acting within the law. And I don't agree with all the war powers and so on and so forth. To go to war, it was always intended that Congress would have to vote. The people would have to be behind going to war. And I don't think that the people would be behind going to war with Venezuela. But the war powers that were given to the presidency or the executive branch after 9/11 do allow for this sort of behavior. Basically, Trump can bomb another country, and Congress has a certain amount of time where they would have to vote on it, but if Trump feels the need to bomb, or any president for that matter, whether it's Trump or somebody else, if they feel the need to bomb another country, they can. I think it's 45 days, and then the Senate, Congress and the Senate would have to eventually vote on it.
On the drug boats, sir, has there been any discussion about capturing one so that you can show the amount of narcotics?
We know everything about them, yeah, Jennifer. We know everything about them. We know where they're coming from, who they're coming with, generally who's in the boat. I'll let Pete discuss it a little bit, but they have incredible intelligence. And, usually when you see 5 engines, I've never even seen that before, but when you see 5 engines on a boat going about 65 miles an hour, loaded up with white powder in silver cases, generally speaking, that's not a good sign. They're not going fishing, right? And you don't see any fishing rods, right? So, Pete, I'll let you discuss that a little bit, please.
Well, yes, sir. Likewise, generally you don't see fishing in submarines either, sir. So the U.S. military, as I mentioned, nobody better in the world at mapping networks, identifying who's connected to who inside terrorist organizations. It's just the media is used to hearing that when it pertains to Afghanistan and Iraq and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. But if you reframe how you understand the world in our own hemisphere, that's exactly what these foreign terrorist organizations are. And so we will track them, we will map them, we will network them, and we will hunt them and kill them because they're trying to and they are killing and poisoning the American people. And inside that, we have all the license necessary, all the authorities necessary to take these kinetic strikes, and we'll continue to take them.
Now, would they vote for these strikes in Venezuela? I don't know. In my opinion, we just shouldn't be involving ourselves in this crap. But I do want you to be warned that it appears like something's coming this week. We're going to strike inside of Venezuela. It's not going to be drug boats off the coast this time. I think that Trump is going to hit narcotics processing facilities within the borders of Venezuela, which is going to be sort of a international incident. I hope that I'm wrong. If I do end up being wrong, that's a good thing. But the movement of assets into that area, it appears to me like something big's about to happen down there. Okay, so that brings me to the next topic. I'm going to hit 5 topics, basically. One of them I'm going to go a little more in depth than the others. So, Democrats starting a civil war. This is absolutely happening. I believe in my heart of hearts, I mean, I can't prove it, I'm no Washington, D.C. insider or anything, but I believe in my heart of hearts that the government shutdown is just a way to oppose Trump. It's just another way for the Democrats to oppose Trump. They don't give a shit about, EBT cards or health care or any of that. They want the government shut down so that Trump is rendered absolutely useless while he's in there. In my opinion, or analysis, I should say, the whole COVID scam was the same deal during his first presidency. It was a scam brought in to stop Donald Trump and his agenda in its tracks, and it worked. And then the impeachment hoaxes worked. Trump never colluded with Russia. That's been proven now. And then the second impeachment about a phone call with Zelensky, like, give me a break, Adam Schiff, you fucking piece of dog shit. Anyway, the Democrat Party has been overrun by Marxists. I know everybody and their mom is likely aware of this by now, but the left has gone radical left, and they want a civil war. The Democrat Party is Antifa. We're finding many representatives who have close ties and financial ties to this group known as Antifa, which stands for anti-fascist.
Steve Robinson, what is this breaking story coming out of Maine, sir?
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me on. We actually reported this morning that Graham Plattner, the progressive darling who's been endorsed by Bernie Sanders and received universally positive, just gushing coverage, right up until Governor Janet Mills decided that she was going to run for the U.S. Senate seat for a chance to challenge Susan Collins. He's been active with a group called the Socialist Rifle Association. It's a play off of the NRA, but it's a group that's linked with Antifa and also the group out in Salt Lake City, the trans paramilitary group that is connected with Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that's how the Socialist Rifle Association first kind of popped into the national consciousness, at least for me. But we found that there was a Maine chapter and started digging into it. And then when this Graham Plattner story broke, we found Reddit comments that he'd posted, which are now deleted. But I think everyone now agrees that P. Hustle is in fact Graham Plattner. He hasn't denied making any of these comments. In some of the comments that CNN missed when they broke the first story, he says that he provides training, including defensive handgun training, to the Socialist Rifle Association. He's, of course, an ex-Marine, ex-Army Reserve, former private contractor in Afghanistan doing close security for the ambassador. So he knows his way around firearms, and his tutelage would be invaluable if you were a bunch of LGBTQ leftists who didn't know how to use firearms. And when we went looking at the social media accounts for the Socialist Rifle Association chapter of Maine, we found tons of pictures of multiple cases of paramilitary training out on the range, including pictures where an individual who looks just like Graham Plattner with red hair and a red beard is seen playing range officer for them. So it's clear that Graham is a little bit more of a far-left radical than he's let on in some of his campaign appearances. And this, combined with revelations that he has a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest that he never got rid of for 17 years, I think is making it a very, very bad week for Graham and a good week for Maine Governor Janet Mills.
I see a lot of people on the right say, well, the Democrats are the most fascist. That just shows your ignorance when it comes to fascism. I am not a fascist. I'm a liberty-loving patriot, constitutionalist, I think you could say. But I don't really adhere to any sort of political party. I don't trust Republicans. I certainly do not trust Democrats. But anyway, fascism itself, the original definition, Mussolini's fascism, was started to oppose Bolshevism or communism. And it morphed into sort of a right-wing tyranny, right? So that's what the ultimate fear of the left is, that right-wing tyranny is coming. But in everything that the Democrats do, they're bringing about right-wing tyranny. You should see what these young Gen Zers are freaking posting onto the uncensored side of the internet.
We're gonna free you all and make you one of us. We're gonna find everyone and make them pay for this. Fuck off.
Now, I find it hilarious, but obviously the commies will not find it hilarious. However, they have nobody to blame but themselves. Their ridiculous policies of bringing drag queens into schoolrooms and the school in general, or the perversion of books that they're given to kids, and these are all things that the European communists were doing in the early 1900s, which led to the rise of fascism. These were basically people who wanted to conserve their nation and their values and the Christian way of life. And they turned into fascists because they felt they had no other option but to fight these people. And that's exactly what's going on with the right wing here in America. I can't say that I'm opposed to it. I want to destroy the left entirely. That's my own that's my viewpoint on it. Is I'm sick of this shit. No more transgenderism, no more faggotry, no more sending our tax dollars overseas to fund transgender salamanders in frickin' Kenya or whatever. It's ridiculous what these people have done. They are destroying this republic, and I'm so sick of watching it. I think pretty much everybody who isn't a brainwashed left-wing communist would agree with that. We're all sick of watching our country be destroyed, our tax dollars stolen and sent overseas, or sent to these damn NGOs that are just pushing their agenda further and further. The Democrats have been using your tax dollars to advance their communist agenda for the government to take over everything in America, and that's just not what America was founded to be. We are not supposed to be a tyranny, either right-wing or left-wing. So I think that the little neo-Nazis on the internet are freaking hilarious, but it can be quite disturbing what they're posting to the internet. Cultural Marxism, what is it? I mean, a lot of people know what it is already, some people don't. And there was a group of Jewish intellectuals who came out of Germany as the Nazis came to power in the 1930s, and they came to the United States. They basically founded Columbia University in New York, and they've been pushing nothing but radical left lunacy ever since. Cultural Marxism, they called it critical theory, which it's not critical race theory, although the name sounds similar. It is being critical of absolutely everything that has to do with capitalism or free market capitalism, or any nation that has liberty. Any nation that's not already communist they sit there and they're critical of everything publicly, and they form political movements based on being critical of everything. And that's what critical theory is. That's a dumbed down version of what critical theory was. They hate everything. They're morose motherfuckers. They can't even stand themselves when they look at themselves in the mirror, and yet they want to form society, some sort of utopia going forward into the future. And I don't want to have any part of what these people are building. The radical left is a serious, serious problem in this country. We're seeing it now come to fruition. Orange man bad. They hate Trump, obviously. But they're just using Trump as an excuse. It wouldn't matter if it was Trump or Thomas Massey, or it wouldn't matter, or me. It really would not matter. If you do not align with this radical left communist agenda, then you're Adolf Hitler, you're a fascist, and they hate you, and they want to kill you. And that's why they don't care about Charlie Kirk, which I'm going to cover that here later. But they are violent terrorists, is what the left has become. And they've gotten disgusting with it. They're attacking federal agents outside of ICE facilities or on ICE raids. They're just attacking federal agents.
We are continuing to watch these increased attacks on ICE officers as the deportation agenda rolls along. Is there anything you can share with us about the department's continued focus on this and a need for those operations to continue to meet the administration's goals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the numbers speak for themselves. We have historic deportation numbers. We are blasting the record for mass deportations out of this country out of the water. But perhaps most importantly, as our officers face this increased threat and this threat level on the ground, it's important to note the Secretary stands fully behind them, fully behind our officers, supporting them, and any individual that threatens an ICE officer, any individual that attacks an ICE or CBP officer will be met with the full force of the law and the full force of the federal government. We are not backing down from this mission. The mass deportations will continue. And if you're an illegal alien, your best choice is to remove yourself from our country right now using the CBP Home app.
And the hypocrisy in that is just almost astounding. Although, I don't know, the left never seems to fail us with their idiocy. But they ran around calling us all maggots and terrorists because we thought that the 2020 election was stolen, and we were, calling them out for their lies, so they labeled us as terrorists. I didn't spend any time in jail, thank God, but I was active on social media, and I'm sure that the FBI or whatever is paying attention to what the hell I'm talking about. And they weaponize the government against the MAGA movement, and then they, lose their power and they go crazy. They become real terrorists. And then they're like, oh, Trump's an authoritarian. Trump's a Nazi. He's coming after us. No, it's you libtarded faggot fucking communists that are the problem. It's not Trump when it comes to this huge divide in America. If anything, I think Trump is genuine in the sense that he wants America to do well. I don't think he really cares if you're a Democrat or Republican. He wants the whole country to do well. But this sharp divide, it's coming mainly from the left. Now, the right wing is now starting to realize what the hell is going on, and clearly the divide is only becoming bigger and bigger. So, therefore, in my analysis, we are heading towards civil war and dangerous times ahead. It'd be my advice for everybody to prepare for, such a thing happening. I don't know if it will or not. Maybe it'll be stopped. I'm not sure. I don't see any of this ending peaceably anytime soon. We're going to be going at each other's throats until the very end of this frickin' thing, and we'll see how it all ends up. But the reaction by the right wing, in my view, is justified. And the Democrats get more and more radical, just keep getting more and more corrupt, and it's creating a radical right wing as well. And I don't mind that at all. SNAP EBT is the next topic here. Let's talk about SNAP EBT. All right, these people are leeching off the government. I mean, that's my analysis on it. Now, it's not everybody. There are people out there. Think about how bad the economy has gotten. If you don't have any life experience and you're working at McDonald's and you got a little kid in an apartment with your wife or whatever, some people need SNAP and need some sort of subsistence in order to feed their child. Now, the vast majority of them do not need it. And again, this is another Democrat program where all of our tax money is going to people who don't deserve it, while our veterans get treated like absolute dog shit in the system. They end up being disabled for the rest of their lives, and then the VA, granted, we do get benefits, which is nice, but we also get shortchanged on those benefits. A lot of us gave a lot for this country and injured ourselves very severely, and we still got to get up and go to work and freaking pay our bills. I'm a disabled veteran. I've got a titanium rod in my spine and a bunch of screws holding my lower spine together. And I still have to get up and go to my blue-collar job and work my ass off every day. So I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy for someone who sits around playing Xbox, freaking playing with their pud all day, whining about their EBT card not working. Go fuck yourself, man. That's about where I'm at on that. But some of the videos, some of the memes and whatnot that have been coming out about this EBT thing, I think is hilarious. And I want that to keep coming.
Hello, Takesha. I want to play a game.
This fall,
Card declined.
the system we rely on just went silent.
Dog, something's wrong with the car. It ain't working nowhere.
EBT funds are gone.
They cut us off.
When the help stops, people stop caring.
We ain't got nothing left. They put no money on it. None. You hear me? It's empty.
One voice will spread the fear,
They cut it off. Tell everybody.
and a city will burn with hunger. EBT down.
Got your ass.
But these programs need to be shut down immediately. I mean, people who need it need to be able to prove that they need it. And, we shouldn't be using credit cards to buy groceries. If you don't make enough money to feed your family, you should be able to apply for this sort of thing. Americans have no problem helping you out as long as you're making some sort of effort in life. We're not just going to float you through while you play Xbox and spank your pud. Go fuck yourself.
Got your ass.
That brings me on to the Charlie Kirk cover-up situation. So something strange is definitely happening here with the whole Charlie Kirk story. And I try to not be a conspiracy theorist. I try to sit back and wait and just analyze all the information as it's coming through, but it's very easy to get excited and speculate. Now, there are YouTube channels who are doing ballistic investigations into this Charlie Kirk assassination because there's some strange things. If what the FBI and the Utah governor and police are telling everybody, if what they are saying is true, then there's some weird oddities about the whole story, basically. Like the 30-06 round. Anybody who's ever fired a 30-06 knows that even a training round with a 30-06 would have likely taken his head clean off of his shoulders. Now, again, I don't want to speculate. Maybe some other ammunition was used. I'm not sure. There's plenty of analysis out on the internet. I'm not going to show any clips of it, of people giving their analysis. The point that I want to make is this is being treated a lot like the Las Vegas shooting, where the FBI and the government aren't really saying very much. They're not telling us much about the investigation. Now, I know that there's only a certain amount of information that they can put out to the public at any given time. I understand that. I did work in the field of public affairs in the Army, and I understand how information is released and the processes that it has to go through before it's released. However, this case has got big time consequences for the people of this country. If it was the radical left, tranny faggots who shot Charlie Kirk, and by the way, I'm sorry, but I'm going to get off topic here just for a second, but if you left-wing lunatics thought that Charlie Kirk was a fascist, you got a whole other thing coming to you, man. You have no idea. Charlie Kirk was, I wouldn't even call him a moderate. He was a softie. I mean, I don't mean to disparage the guy in death. I think it was totally wrong what happened to Charlie Kirk, and a very tragic, sad story. But he was soft. You should see the part of the internet that obviously you lefties aren't seeing, because Charlie Kirk was not a fascist, okay? There are fascists starting to form out here in the world, but Charlie Kirk was not it. And it's fucking ridiculous to say that he was, a racist, whatever. These crazy left-wing lunatics. Look at some of these retards.
What can we do as a whole to ensure that what happened to Charlie Kirk does not happen again?
It can happen again. I don't really care.
Wait, say that again?
We are investigating the recent Charlie Kirk shooting. We are following every lead except the ones my beautiful Israeli wife won't let me. She's actually so smart and found this bullet in the woods. It had a note on it that read, "It definitely was not Israel."
We're all pretty sure it was Israel, actually.
It couldn't have been Israel. Netanyahu tweeted 35 times in 48 hours assuring us of that.
If Bibi didn't do it, then who did?
We've determined it was actually a transgender, which is absolutely not a Talmudic belief, so don't even think about Googling that.
Is it true that you shit in the streets?
Of course I do. Next question.
Were you able to search the suspect's phone yet?
Really hard, because it's an 8-digit passcode and not 6, something we Indians have never customer serviced.
Jeet, the chat logs you put out seem extremely fake.
No, they're as fake as Canadian Indian college degrees. My wife definitely didn't help me write them with ChatGPT.
Is it true the Jewish man screaming to cause a distraction had child on his phone?
That sick person is facing the full hammer of the law and getting a free plane trip to Israel.
Pretty sure you're scamming all of us.
I have one last message to Charlie. I'll see you in Pupala, brother.
Kash Patel. He was going to take down the deep state. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. And he frickin' hasn't done any of it. He'll come out every few weeks. He'll be like, oh, we arrested such and such, blah, blah, blah. That nobody gives a shit about right now. We have to take the deep state down. We need to know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I know there's theories out there that Israel did it. I'm going to get into Israel in the next topic here, and then we'll be done. But I know there's theories out there that Israel did it. I haven't really seen any proof of that. There's been some, intriguing information that would lead one to believe that. So I can't blame people for speculating on it. I say, hell, speculate on all this shit. We know that the government's lying to us. Everybody knows that the government is lying to us. And then people turn around and they're like, oh, don't be a conspiracy theorist. Well, go fuck yourself, okay? The only way we're going to learn the truth is by investigating and researching this shit on our own. We cannot trust the government. Not even Kash Patel, who promised to give us the truth on a whole lot of topics, and then once he got in there, ain't doing shit, quite frankly. And I was a big Dan Bongino fan for years. Something is going on in the FBI still. It's a totally corrupt organization, and I think that we should abolish it altogether. They're not there to investigate anything. They're more there to cover up the truth, is what it seems like to me. The topic of Israel is near and dear to my heart. I am a Christian. I'm not the best Christian. I cuss. I'm a sinner. I'm terrible. But that's what makes me a Christian. And I'm seeing these evangelical Christian Zionists who are being propagandized to support Israel no matter what. And I know it's no longer taboo to talk about this. And so I'm going to talk about it, okay? 10 years ago, I supported Israel myself. After serving in the army, I always felt bad for Israel because they were surrounded by Muslims on all sides that wanted to kill them. Or at least that was my opinion. But the more video footage I saw coming out of Palestine, even before this whole conflict kicked off, I started to realize over the years that Israel is not so good in the way that they were treating the Palestinians, like them or not, right? They're human beings. The Zionist Christians are dehumanizing Palestinians by assuming they're all Hamas, which then justifies Netanyahu bombing the fuck out of these people. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. What the hell are you guys talking about? Okay, this was a genocide. The whole purpose of Netanyahu's war has nothing to do with hostages or October 7th or Hamas or any of that shit. Netanyahu and the Zionist regime in Israel care about the expansion of Israel. They are pursuing the Greater Israel Project. And if you don't know what that is, I recommend you go research it. I'll put up some maps and whatnot.
Did you know Israel has never fully defined its borders? Most countries have maps showing exactly where their sovereignty begins and where it ends, but Israel doesn't. Israel's borders with Egypt and Jordan were first set as armistice lines after the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, then formalized through peace treaties in 1979 and 1994. But its borders with Lebanon, Syria, Gaza, and the West Bank remain undefined and unrecognized. Even within Israel itself, no official map shows agreed-upon national boundaries. That ambiguity isn't a mistake, because as long as Israel's borders are not set in stone, they can keep expanding. This is the story of a borderless project, the Zionist vision of Greater Israel and what it means not just for Palestinians, but for the entire region. For more than a century, Zionist leaders have pushed for the establishment of Greater Israel, a state of Israel that would stretch far beyond the territory it controls today. In the late 1800s, well before Israel was established, early Zionist leaders convened to debate their visions for a Jewish state. First, there's Theodor Herzl, a Zionist founder from Vienna who's often called the father of modern Zionism. He envisioned the borders of this future Jewish state running all the way from the Euphrates in Iraq to the Nile in Egypt. Then there's Russian-born Zev Jabotinsky, the ideological forebear of Netanyahu's Likud party. He imagined Israeli sovereignty on both sides of the Jordan River. In 1947, Zionist leaders accepted the UN partition plan that proposed dividing Palestine into two separate states, one Palestinian and the other Jewish. But it was a tactical move. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, made clear that this was just a first step toward eventually gaining control of all of what he envisioned as Greater Israel. His strategy was to secure international recognition for part of the land first, then build military power to take the rest by force. And that's exactly what happened. In 1948, Israel expanded far beyond the UN partition lines during the Nakba, when Zionist militias violently expelled over 750,000 Palestinians from their homes and destroyed or depopulated over 400 Palestinian towns and villages. In 1967, Israel seized the West Bank, Gaza, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai. It only eventually returned the Sinai to Egypt after Egyptian forces retook the territory during the War of 1973. Ever since then, Israel has continued expanding its territory throughout the West Bank by establishing facts on the ground, settlements, outposts, and military zones that have proven impossible to reverse despite being illegal under international law. The population of Israeli settlers in the West Bank and East Jerusalem has skyrocketed from just a couple thousand in 1967 to over 800,000 today, with the past year seeing the largest expansion of Israeli settlements to date. For a long time, despite Israel's gradual expansion, most Israeli leaders distanced themselves from Greater Israel proclamations, at least publicly, as to not provoke neighboring Arab countries they sought to normalize relations with. But more radical settler groups like Gush Emunim, a messianic settler movement founded in the 1970s, never abandoned the Greater Israel vision and continued to tie the expansion of Israeli settlement to religious destiny. Their efforts helped fuel the rapidly growing settler movement we see entrenching its control in the West Bank as we speak.
This is the promise of God to the patriarchs of the Jewish nation.
It's 3,000 kilometers. It's almost as big as the Sahara Desert.
So this is the biblical Israel. Yes. Can I call it this? Yeah. So and this is so which countries are these?
Which country? Don't mention.
And today, Greater Israel can no longer be disregarded as a fringe idea. Israel's current government is considered to be the most far-right in Israeli history, led by extremist ministers like Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, who are making territorial expansion a core component in their political platforms. Even Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has begun openly embracing it, recently calling the project a historic and spiritual mission.
אז אתה שואל אם אני מרגיש שאני בשליחות היסטורית ורוחנית? התשובה היא כן.
It's a statement with huge implications, not just for Palestinians, but for the whole region. Israeli soldiers have been spotted wearing Greater Israel patches as they commit genocide in Gaza, and Israeli leaders are calling for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza's entire population to be replaced by Israeli settlers. Some Israelis have gone as far as openly invoking Nazi Germany's Lebensraum doctrine, land conquest for living space, to push for settlement expansion into areas Israel's occupying in southern Lebanon and Syria. In the West Bank, Israel's government recently approved construction of new settlements that would effectively divide the West Bank in two and prevent the establishment of a contiguous, viable future Palestinian state. Because Israel has never officially defined all of its borders, each war, land grab, and bombing campaign has the potential to redraw the map of Israeli control in the long term. Each new fact on the ground inches Israel closer to its ultimate goal of returning Greater Israel into a reality. And each time the world averts its gaze and lets Israel get away with violating its neighbor's sovereignty, Israel's leaders get more emboldened. History shows us that expansionist powers won't stop unless they're forced to.
They're looking to expand the borders of Israel big time. And it's going to include the landmass of Syria, Iran, Iraq. I mean, it encompasses a wide area in the Middle East. So it doesn't matter if Hamas gives the hostages back. It doesn't matter if Hamas, keeps to this new ceasefire that's going on. Israel is going to pursue the Greater Israel project until somebody stops them. Now, I will say this, they're starting to lose the information war. And it looks like maybe they're starting to pump the brakes on this thing. But I don't know. They bombed the shit out of southern Lebanon the day after the ceasefire was agreed to. Now, the ceasefire didn't include Lebanon, but they're not going to stop dropping bombs unless they're forced to stop dropping bombs. And so the people in general need to stand up to Netanyahu and this Zionist regime in Israel. And if we don't, the Middle East is going to... Every single bomb that Netanyahu and his buddies drop creates another radical jihadist who wants to come over here and cut your frickin' head off. Let's stop dropping bombs on these people. Give them some sort of prosperous future. How about leaving them the fuck alone? I mean, can we try that on again? We used to be a country where we just left other people alone unless there was some sort of serious humanitarian issue going on. And I just wish that our foreign policy would get back to that. I was sent to these, globalist Zionists wars in the Middle East, and it took me a long time before I started to realize that something's not right here. We are not the world's police, and we need to pull back and save this republic before we get involved with Israel. Anyway, the Greater Israel Project is going to happen. Either that or Netanyahu is going to fall, one or the other. And, you know, frankly, I would agree that Israel should deserve to have their own little sliver of land. But if they're going to go around murdering all their neighbors, then maybe they should find another sliver of land and get the hell out of there. Yes, I understand it's the Holy Land and so on and so forth, and there's historic ties to Jews being there, but when you're going around killing your neighbors, what do you think your neighbors just want you to fucking stay there and keep murdering them? I mean, you're wearing out your welcome with the world, Israel, and I recommend that you cut it the hell out. You're supposedly part of this whole Western civilization thing, and yet you just want to do your own thing, and eventually it's going to come back to haunt you, and I think that it already is. Most of the world is basically turned against Israel at this point, other than the Christian Zionists, which I keep, I've got some that I'm actually friends with in real life, and I keep trying to talk to these people, but it's almost like talking to a libtard. Like the Christian Zionists they can't see past this propaganda in front of their face that is saying that Israel is God's chosen people. They hate you. Christian missionaries and tourists that go to Jerusalem and Israel to see holy sites get spit on by Jews in the street.
You and your fucking Jesus can kiss my ass, okay? Go away. Screw you. Whoa. Don't camera, no camera. I break your camera. Don't take picture, okay? Screw you, you Nazi. You fuck. Don't take camera. I break your camera. Don't take picture. Shabbat shalom. No picture. We don't want picture.
Leave. You can't come in here. This is not your house.
This is not your house.
שקט, לכו מפה! שקט! לכו מפה,
They call you goyim, or cattle. Now, that's debatable. I mean, there's Israelis who say that goyim means something else, but Judaism, at least modern Judaism, is not all that far off from Islam. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but in the sense that if you are not a Jew, they hate you. No different than if you're not a Muslim, they hate you. Now, the Muslims want to cut your head off. The Jews want to subvert your society and take over. So, Christianity appears to be the only major religion on the face of the planet, where if you don't believe in Christianity, the Christians just leave you alone. And I don't see what's so bad about that. Christianity is the most attacked religion on the face of the planet. They're murdering Christians over in Nigeria. You don't hear people talking about fucking anti-Christianism the way that they are about anti-Semitism. Everything is anti-Semitic. Well, go fuck yourself, okay? I'm allowed to have an opinion, and I'm going to speak my fucking opinion, whether you like it or not, you fucking faggot. Israel is not okay. It's not a good place. And they're not doing good things in the Middle East. They're not doing, they basically own the United States Congress through AIPAC, and you know, you can debate that too, but clearly our politicians who are talking about Israel constantly are corrupted in some way, shape, or form. We have so many problems in this country, yet we have so many politicians that their first priority is Israel. Ted Cruz being a shining example, but then you have lower level guys like Randy Fine. I mean, shut the fuck up about Israel for a few fucking minutes, you fucking faggots, and take care of this republic right here. Stop being a fucking homo and save the fucking republic, you clowns.
Thank you for doing this. Yeah, thank you for having me. I wanted to meet you. I've heard about you.
The legacy media is like owned by the Jews.
I was going to say, Ben, come on. You Jews own the media, Ben. You can tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys.
Danny Glazer.
What did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No. In that kind of confinement, this doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
That's going to do it for today's show. I think this has turned out to be too long to begin with, so I apologize for how long it was. But the American people need actual analysis, okay? I am not sponsored or funded by anybody. I'm just telling you the truth as I see it. And that is what far-right news is going to be all about. Because if you think for yourself, you are far right in the minds of these communists who are overrunning America. With all that being said, I hope that my fellow Americans, I hope you have a good month in November. I'll do another show here next week. If anybody's interested, I'm going to post this to a bunch of platforms and see if it gets any traction whatsoever. If it doesn't, then I'll probably stop it. But this is just going to be real news coverage or real analysis, and you know, the left will call it far right, the Jews will call it far right and say that I'm a Nazi. I don't give a fuck anymore, okay? My blue collar job, you're not going to, even if I got fired tomorrow, I would just go live in the woods. I don't give a shit. You can't cancel me. I really don't give a fuck. And if you want to come after me, lefties, go right ahead. But the communists, the Jews, fucking, you know, I may sound like a Nazi, but these are serious problems, folks, that the American people need to wake up to. And that's what I hope to do with this show, is to wake the American people up. We need to get back to being a constitutional republic. The government works for the people. The system has been entirely corrupted, and we need to save it. If we don't, everything's going to collapse. You'll lose everything. You're looking at a dystopic future beyond anything you could ever imagine. And with that, I do hope that everybody has a good month of November. The holidays are coming. Have a happy Thanksgiving. But don't take your mind off of what is going on. Don't be naive. Don't be a fucking idiot. All right. Well, signing off.